the source of hope is we do have resources. We don't have to reinvent them like in all religious traditions. We see earth as sacred, and for me, from the Christian tradition, probably the most consoling thing is that we believe in God's incarnation, that God became part of our common, It's John 1:15 when the evangelist says, God pitched his tent among us. Imagine like God, who is absolute spirit, became matter. And on that account, the entire creation is sacred. And we believe in the resurrection, in Jesus' resurrection, the Spirit of God is present in the entire universe. And in Christianity, we believe in what we call the salvation, not just of humanity, but of the entire universe. St. Paul, in the letters to the Ephesians and Colossians, both in the first chapters, he says everything will be recapitulated in Christ. The entire universe will be redeemed in Christ, will return to God. The universe comes from God and will return to God. So we do have lots and lots of resources, and it's time to recover them and take these resources back to our people.
So right from the early Hindu text, the Atharva Veda, there's a number of verses called the Bhumi Shukta, the prayers to Mother Earth, and these are 63 verses in glorification of the earth, and they are beautiful. And all across Hindu texts, such as the Mahabharata, the Ramayana, there are various teachings that talk about caring for the earth. And they are very overt teachings. But what I'm really loving at the moment is looking at one text, the Bhagavad Gita, and understanding that text through an environmental message or lens. And that text is very interesting because it's the story of two personalities, Krishna, who is an avatar or incarnation of God, and his friend and disciple Arjuna. And they engage in a discourse around the meaning of life. Arjuna essentially starts off the story having a mental breakdown. And Krishna consoles him and tells him, and really helps him in a number of ways understand the purpose and meaning of life and how to act properly in the world. And within that discourse, there is significant understandings around how the natural world works and the role of humans to care for the world. And so the overt teachings in Hinduism around planting trees and caring for water and caring for cows, they're easy. But there's a reason why, I'm interested to know why Hindus haven't grasped those teachings. Because they're sometimes in very obscure texts. But the Bhagavad Gita, although it's seen as a very philosophical treatise, is actually a deeply ecological text as well. And so right now, me and a number of people are really examining what ecological lessons we can learn from this specific text.
I see life as this experience of fundamental interconnectedness, interdependence, and interpenetration. And one of the images that reflects this perception is from the Avatamsaka Sutra of Indra's net, where at every node in the net of Indra, there is a jewel, and that jewel reflects the light from all other jewels. And Thich Nhat Hanh wrote a book called The Sun, My Heart, which also expressed this experience, but also the reality of interbeing, of how we are interconnected with all beings and things. So the sun, my heart is, a wonderful metaphor for that. I remember him speaking many years ago in front of a small group of my students, and he held up a piece of paper and he said, "What is this?" And somebody from the group said, "Oh, it's a piece of paper." And Thai very gently said, "Well, when I look at this, I see a tree in the forest, and I see all of the life in that tree and around that tree. And I see the woodcutter, and I see the truck driving the tree to the sawmill, and I see the sawyer, and so on and so forth." And it was a really powerful example that he shared of how what's called in Buddhism Paratantra, which is this experience or perception that all things are interconnected, they're interpenetrating and interdependent. So from the Buddhist point of view, that is life. It's an interconnected web of being.